The Chicago Bears apparently love Ashton Jeanty and could possibly even trade back into the first round if they were to take him that high. We got to talk about all that more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if y'all new to the channel, man, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Listen, Chicago Bears seem like they could be all in on Ashton Jeanty per Matt Miller. From what he's hearing from scouts around the NFL, that the Chicago Bears love Ashton Jeanty, and they have observing the team's activity. He could be somebody who could be a pick for the Bears here at number 10 if he is still there. And that if he is still there is very massive. And now listen, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and go, oh, Pat's going to go on the hate tour for Ashton Jeanty. No, look, I don't hate Ashton Jeanty. I've said multiple times, I think he's a phenomenal running back. I think he has a ton of talent. I just would focus on the trenches more in that position. But if the Bears were to take Ashton Jeanty in that spot, the one knock on him is that people feel that he is not an every down back, that he's not a 3-down back, and that, you know, you got to do a running back by committee for him, which the Bears probably still would end up doing some of that anyway. But I just think that's insane, right? When you talk about an all-around running back, he is the epitome of that. I know people look at this season, 375 rushing attempts, 2,595 yards, and 29 touchdowns, and not really many receptions this season, right? But you got to think about, first off, let's look at the numbers from this year. He's doing that while they're putting 9 in the box. I don't care what division you play in. That is difficult to do. That is insanely difficult to do. And how he's been able to produce it at the college level has been impressive with those understandings of, hey, they're stacking the box every single play, and Ashton Jeanty is still able to do that. But on top of that, you look at the season before, and this is where I want a lot of people to really look in on Jeanty. 217 attempts in that 2023 season, his sophomore year, 1,300 rushing yards that season. And he also was able to go out there and catch over 95% of his passes for 578 yards. Now, touchdowns was a little bit lower, but I mean, he got older, he got better. And they basically just didn't throw him the football as much or utilize him in that passing game nearly as much as they did the season before. But he is somebody who can be an all-around running back. And I think that if the Bears took him at 10, listen, am I going to be upset? Am I going to go flip tables? No, it's one of those where he better be a generational running back. He better be that piece that you look at and we're going to talk about in 20 years like he's a Saquon Barkley. We're going to talk about in 20 years like he's one of the greatest to ever do it, especially with how deep this running back draft class is. And when you look at kind of his game over on The Athletic, they put out The Beast. Shout out to The Athletic for dropping this. This is an amazing thing that has all of the breakdown on the player. They got him listed right now, 5'9", 211 pounds, 21 years old. And they have him as the number 3 prospect in this draft. So if you're getting the number 3 prospect at 10, now I don't know if I believe that he's the number 3 prospect, but if you're getting the number 3 prospect at 10, you're not doing bad. What they said here about him was that with a low center of gravity and explosiveness, Jeanty has an uncanny ability to stay afloat through contact and be elusive in space. He led the FBS with 151 forced missed tackles in 2024, 57 more than the number 2 guy on the list. He trusts his vision when following his blocks, but instead of predetermining his path, he displays outstanding reactionary reads to sort, cut, and create. And that's the big thing, right? The big problem I have right now with where we're at with DeAndre Swift was DeAndre Swift didn't have that trust. When he was in Philly, he didn't have that trust. He was trying to predetermine where things were going to come. And a lot of times you're seeing the cutbacks or he's cutting the route off short, or he's not running outside all the way where he needs to, because it's supposed to be shooting to the outside, hip press, bounce out there, and all of a sudden you got a home run shot, and DJ Moore's got the guy sealed, but you don't believe DJ Moore's got the guy sealed, so you cut up early, you end up getting tackled for a 2-yard loss. Those are the things for me where it's like, Hearing that about Ashton Jeanty, I wouldn't be mad if the Chicago Bears were to go out there and get Ashton Jeanty. At this point, I think that if he's there, they probably would take him. But to me, it is not an important piece for where you're at right now. Not to say it's not an important piece when you get down the line, but continue to build this line. Joe Thuney is 32 years old. Grady Jarrett is 32 years old. There are pieces that the Bears are going to be possibly looking to acquire there, but and we'll have that conversation here in a second. But to me, I would do that at 10. But listen, if the Bears go out there and get the best running back in the draft, and I have to sit there and watch him run in touchdowns all season, you think I'm going to be like, oh my God, this is the worst pick you ever could have made. Now, in 4 years, y'all will hate me unless he's one of the greats of all time, because I will be sitting there saying, go draft the other one. Unless you feel like this young man better be a Barry Sanders, Derrick Henry, Walter Payton mix, but that's neither here nor there. If the Bears were to take him because they do love this guy right now, I would not sit here and lose my mind. It would just be, here we go. Let's roll with this. We're trusting Ryan Poles. We're trusting Ben Johnson. This is kind of where we're at now. But what makes this interesting, and by the way, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. If you have not done so, make sure to tap in with us on the podcast side as well. Also, before we go into the next topic, because I do want to talk about the Bears trading back into the first, which is something else that was mentioned in this article. We got to tell you about the Breeze draft party, man. Buy your tickets now. Tickets are on sale now. Thursday, April 24th, 6 p.m. until the final pick. We're going to be at Ultimate Gaming Experience in Orland Park. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a bartender there. We're going to have food there. There's going to be so much fun that we're going to be able to have, and just truly can't wait to kick it with you guys on that night. So make sure to pull up on us at the Ultimate Gaming Experience out in Orland Park, man. Tickets on sale now. We've got the entry tickets. We've got we got a $20 ticket. You walk in, you get a drink in hand. We've got a VIP seating section where you get your own spot to sit there and watch on your own screen, and drink. One drink is included in that. And, the night is a vibe. So pull up on us. If you want to be a little bit more to yourself, we can do that as well. Let's jump back into this though, because I do think that this is an interesting conversation now, because Matt Miller, after talking about Ashton Jeanty, brings up that if he's still there and the Bears take him, Chicago with 2 second-round picks could be aggressive and package them to trade back into the end of the first if a desired pass rusher falls. Now, he says that rusher could be a defensive tackle or an edge rusher, but the team is viewing defensive tackle as the more pressing need. And that is interesting to me, right? Because all we've talked about is that guy opposite Montez Sweat, the guy opposite Montez Sweat, the guy opposite Montez Sweat. And I think the Bears, and dare I say, I think the NFL is looking at this a little bit differently now because of how many young quarterbacks are in this NFL, how many young quarterbacks are in the league, and how much that pressure in the middle truly just disrupts what a young quarterback is able to do with how he's going through his reads and how he's reading a defense. The Bears prioritizing defensive tackle shocks me a little bit because of the amount of investment they have currently in that position. I mean, you're going big with Grady Jarrett. As much as people are done with them, you've got a 3rd-round pick in Zach Pickens on this team. You've got a 2nd-round pick in Javon Dexter on this team. You have Andrew Billings currently on this team. You've got Dayo Dangbo, who can play inside and outside, and you still want to go out there and get the defensive tackle shored up. I think that would make more sense if there's a Mason Graham on the board. I think that is something where clearly, right, they're interested in, and we had the conversation about the possibility of the Chicago Bears trading up if Mason Graham was available and he got close to him. Would they possibly prioritize trading up? I don't know if the Bears are going to trade up. It just hasn't been in Ryan Poles' MO. But the one thing for me where I kind of look at this team right now and say, okay, so you're prioritizing the defensive tackle over the defensive edge rusher there. Do you feel like you're comfortable at that position where, listen, you got Dayo Dangbo who can kind of do both and is solid at both, and he's been an 8-sack guy, right? You've also got Austin Booker, who the conversation around Austin Booker is go get some more weight on this guy, and he's going to be able to go out there and ball out, which I think most of us had. And Austin Booker had some very interesting pass rush moves, didn't make a ton of impact in his rookie year, but also didn't have a ton of time on the field in his rookie year. I remember what we saw in that preseason that we were all excited about, and then we didn't really see Austin Booker on the field in a impact defensive pass rush mode until maybe week 3 or 4, like it was later on in the season. So for me, right, looking at that, I kind of do say maybe you feel set because you feel like you've got something there, especially in this Dennis Allen system. Maybe you feel set because Dayo Odangbo can give you a lot more with Dennis Allen coaching him up than maybe somebody else can. Maybe you feel a lot more comfortable there and you want to focus on that interior pressure and having waves of that interior pressure. I would not be mad at that. The big question though is, who is going to be there late in that first round? And the name for me that stands out, I think there's only one, is Derek Harmon, right? Like, to me, that is the guy who, if you are the Chicago Bears right now, late in that first round, and you want to add that interior pressure out of Oregon, that's kind of the guy you're looking at, right? Like, he's very solid, made a ton of impact, had a ton of pressure on quarterbacks last season at Oregon. He's basically, I would say Mason Graham is probably number one if you're going to say, and this is even if he's down there, right? This is depends on where you're able to trade to. But if you're going to say somebody is number two, I would probably have him number two on the list. TFLs over his college career. He spent 3 years at Michigan State. He spent 1 year at Oregon. He's got 116 tackles. He's got 17 tackles for loss. He's got 8.5 sacks over that time, but just continued pressure in the face of the quarterback from that middle position. That to me could be something where I think that if you were the Bears and you were going to trade back into this draft, maybe he is there. Going back to the beast here, what was said about him, said a player who can win in different ways. Harmon forces blockers to attack air within his lateral explosiveness or uses strong, crafty hands to swat away the reach of blockers as he bursts through gaps to close on the ball carrier. Though he led led all FBS interior alignment in pressure, he also led the position in missed tackles, 12. Even the smallest improvement in his backfield finishing ability would have resulted in double-digit sacks overall. Harmon is highly active and a disruptive big man who constantly finds a way to gain freedom from blocks as a penetrating pass rusher and run stuffer. He projects as a scheme-diverse NFL starter anywhere from 1 to 5 technique. And I think that just, if you're going to go after a guy, he's probably going to be down there in the 20s. I think that would be the guy that I probably would look at the closest if I'm the Chicago Bears, because to me, you can trade back in. I don't know if it's going to cost you both second round picks this season. Maybe you could do a second this year, a second next year, and go after a guy like that. He's somebody who you know is going to be a starter in this league. He's somebody who you know can play multiple positions, so still fits in with Javon Dexter, can come in there next to If you want to do a Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings line, and you want to do a Derek Harmon, Javon Dexter line, I think that would be something that the Bears could absolutely explore. The penetration on both of those lines would be something impressive to me to see. And I think that he's really the only name, if you're prioritizing defensive tackle, that is down there that makes sense for the Chicago Bears now. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments, man. Is this a move that you would make? Would you want to see the Bears trade back into that second round, or would you rather see him stand pat? Because I'm not going to lie, still some really, really good names out there, right? Like, it's not like he's the only defensive tackle that we've talked about that has some talent there, right? We talked about Mason Graham a ton. Guess what? Is Kenneth Grant still on the board? I know everybody's sitting there and going, no, he's not going to be that far down. Somebody sliding, right? Is Kenneth Grant still going to be on the board? Is a Walter Nolan still on the board? Is Tyleik Williams still on the board? I think there's names that you can get in that second round. I think Derek Harmon is the best of the bunch of those names outside of Mason Graham. He's kind of in a class of his own, but like, to me, that is kind of the conversation that you have to have if you're the Chicago Bears here, where, hey, look, if you're going to trade into this first round, you got to come away with a guy like that who is a starter. If you're going to sit there and wait, there's still some really good pieces, but are they at that same level, or do you trust this coaching staff to develop them to that same level, which I would think so with where this coaching staff is at right now. But hey, I want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Do you think that the Chicago Bears should trade back into this first round? Do you feel like a guy like Derek Harmon would be the answer there? I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.